I was pretty much raised by my grandparents, and then my grandmother passed away, so my auntie took care of us. My auntie was like, "Hey, it would be right that you pretty much get a chance to like live with your family, like my family on my dad's side." My sister wanted to figure out what was going on with me because I was noticing that I was getting pretty weak. It was harder to get up the stairs. Getting out the car was a bit hard. So she was like, "Hey, let's go to the doctor, see what's going on." The doctors did like a muscle biopsy, came back and was like, "Well, you have muscular dystrophy. It's like when your muscles degenerate, and it's gonna happen for a period of time, and there's no cure for it." I was pretty much in like some trailer homes, going to school, taking like 3 buses to get to school. That moment just made me realize I was dealt this bad hand, but how do I make it into like something great? We didn't have money to attend college. My parents didn't set up a trust fund or anything like that. So I first got involved with Take Stock in Children when I was about 15 years old. I was going to my freshman year of high school, and I remember a lady came in the classroom with some papers that say, "Hey, if anybody's looking to go to college when they graduate, there's this wonderful program called Take Stock in Children. All you gotta do is just get your family member to sign it, and we'll get you connected as soon as possible." Take Stock in Children gave me the opportunity to attend college for pretty much free. It paid 60% of my tuition, 2 years of FSCJ, as well as 2 years of the University of North Florida.
Take Stock in Children's role under Goodwill is we come in and we want to educate and work with our low-income, hardworking students in the middle school and high school level. We help them attain their goals and dreams through a combination of our college success coaches, our volunteer mentors, and the scholarship opportunity to help them get an education.
It was a bit difficult because I'm the first one in my family to attend college, so I didn't really understand the process of, if I need help, go to my guidance counselor. So it was a bit rocky, and then until like I met Miss Leah.
When you first meet Monterious, you're obviously drawn in by his incredible smile and his outgoing personality. And then when you learn more about Monterious and some of his struggles and his determination, you can't help to be a fan and kind of join the fan club.
So being a mentor actually isn't a matter of giving, it's actually a matter of getting in the truest sense, because I've gotten so much from Monterious in his inspiration, to see his authenticity, his resilience, his motivation. It's really, really powerful. He inspires you to want to make the world a better place. I think the authenticity comes from his character and his heart, and he has had trials and adversity that he has overcome, and he lives life to its fullest, and I think it's just an attitude. It's the attitude of positivity.
A lot of people try to figure out their purpose, in this world, and I think that if I'm able to share that positive influence to somebody, if I'm able to say, "Hey, no matter what you're going through, don't let it get to you. It could be worse." If I'm able to tell somebody, "Hey, go to school, get your education. It's one of the keys to success." If I'm able to reach somebody, it just makes me feel like, man, I'm doing my purpose. I'm actually serving, my purpose here on earth. So it makes me feel real good. It makes me feel really good.
Monterious makes a wonderful speaker for our Take Stock in Children events, because for most of us, we don't face the challenges in a year that Monterious has in a day, and yet you never see that smile disappear. I've never heard him complain once. I've never heard him ever falter on his determination of where he wants to go.
He's going to do great because he knows how to make a connection, and he knows how to touch people's heart.
Anytime anybody needs some help, I have no choice but to help them out, because somebody helped me out. I'm just very grateful I had the opportunity to experience this, and I hope it benefits everybody else, who's trying to get involved with Take Stock in Children.
I think in what we do and what the mentors do with these students each and every week when they meet with them is help those students realize that they are important to our society, they are important to us, and that they are our future. And so whatever we can do to support them and help them realize that they have a purpose here, that's why we do what we do.
If it wasn't for Take Stock, I wouldn't be here. Like, I probably wouldn't be at school. I know that because, like I said, I wasn't financially able to go to school. So my life has just like steady progress, steady elevated through Take Stock in Children.
When I was a younger adult, hanging around the wrong groups, getting into drugs, hanging out, the drinking and stuff like that. Being from Baltimore, I've seen a lot of stuff up there. I've been arrested a few times. It was almost hitting rock bottom, It took a few years for me to see that this is not the life that you want to live every day. You can do better. I knew I could do better. I've lost some friends over it. I had to literally go into like my own shell, solitude, and just had to distance myself. My family, we all moved down to Jacksonville, Florida, and it wasn't to come down here and repeat what happens in Baltimore. But about 2015, I started saving, every little penny I could towards starting school. After I started school, I was laid off, so it was a buzz killer. That quickly diminished my savings of what I did have, and it was a make or break, moment.
Mike had difficulty staying in his program because he had run out of money, basically. A lot of times when people are in these situations and they keep getting, no on job applications and, no for school and all these negative things, they tend to go back to that lifestyle.
The idea is to take him out of that situation and put him in a position where he can support himself and his family.
In A-STEP, we don't really provide just emergency funding. That's not what we do. So we initially told Mike we didn't know if we could accept him. He said, "I'm willing to do anything. I've kind of come to the end of my rope, and I'm really upset because I've worked really hard to get here."
She really comforted me, consoled me. Because when I first met her, I was crying.
After you get to know him and you really listen to his story and you feel his heartache of what he's been through and where he's trying to go and how hard he's worked to overcome, things, you're going to take a chance on him because he's just that kind of guy. Like, you want to help him. He enrolled in the HVAC program, which we thought just taking that initiative was really good.
She set me up through the A-STEP program to help me complete college and better myself and strive for success. And I just like, providing people comfort. So it's nothing like, hooking up your unit, hooking up all your ductwork and cutting that unit on, hearing it hum, it brings a pleasure to me.
Anytime he got down, he would call us, and that's the relationship that's key to our program. Is these students know that we're not just there for education reasons. That's our main, goal, is to get them through an educational program, but we're really there to support everything about their life. With Martha, it's really the relationship building and the trust building, I think, that has made a difference with Mike.
When we work with these students, it's so much one-on-one that it doesn't end when we finish our job. It goes beyond that.
She helped out for one Christmas, helping the girls with Christmas gifts under the tree. Because that first few months, it was very trying, helping keep food on the table. Checked on me every week, to make sure I was still coming to class, my life good in school, good at home.
The program he did was enough to get him a job, but I think Michael's capable of a lot more. He's now managing, all of the maintenance.
I really admire Michael for everything he has done so far. And I know he's not done yet. He's a really good student. He has a really good soul.
I look forward to being hopefully a good mentor for someone else. I can relate, I can tell them about my past. I've went through this trial and tribulation and, it's something better out there. So anything that I can do to pay it forward for the younger generation or anybody my age or older that might be going through something, I mean, it can be done. Anything can be achieved through willpower and God, and a little help from angels such as Miss Jill at 8-Step and Goodwill.
I used to be a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 boys, and I'm married. This year will be 9 years. And I wanted to start working, like have a career and have something to fall back on, and just being able to have like financial security and stability. I kind of went back and forth between wanting to be a nurse or be a respiratory therapist. It's just something about healthcare that I've always enjoyed and just really loved. I like to take care of people and patients. I had already had prereqs from years previous, but I needed more in order to get into respiratory. I was just having a hard time with financial aid, like even getting approved for anything.
When a student makes a prior attempt and they exhaust some of their financial aid years back, and in her case it was 10 years prior, is when she attempted a few classes. And if they have to withdraw or if they are not successful in classes, then down the road they will still haunt you for that.
It was just too expensive for me to be able to afford to go back to school because my husband was the only one working.
I just do what I can do to help her, like there was one time where I was the only one working, supporting the whole family. She's such a hard-working and dedicated person, and she really trying her hardest to succeed.
It really was a long process, and then in the end I didn't even think I was going to start school because my job ended up closing, and I didn't really have the funds to be able to not work and be able to pay daycare. At the time, it just didn't seem like it would be possible.
Because she's not getting the financial aid, we were trying to find things that would offset some of the financial, distress she had until her financial aid came active. So we really supported her throughout that process. A-Step is a program for adults who are looking to increase their wage through education. It could mean a certificate or a degree.
That's the only way that I was able to get back into school was because of A-Step.
We took very small steps in getting her there. We got her to a point where she was able to apply to the respiratory therapy program. She kind of had to prove herself again. It was super exciting to see that she was accepted, and she was so excited, and really her hard work and patience really paid off. She went through so much that a lot of people probably would have stopped going and said, it's not the right time in my life to do this, but she persevered, and unfortunately a week later her husband lost his job, and she called saying she didn't think she could accept the seat.
I mean, it was kind of scary at first because it was my first time not having a job in 8 years. So I went out hard looking for jobs, had interviews, got turned down on some of them.
I mean, it was a very discouraging time because you have one door open, but then there's one that closes, and trying to figure out will I be able to do this, or will I have to wait another year and work so that my family can be provided for also. But I mean, Jill, she was very helpful.
We said we'll do anything we can to help Ryan, find employment. Of course, Goodwill is the employment machine. We can do what we can to get him employed in, something so she could continue in her studies.
She was able to help Ryan find a job at Goodwill, and I was able to stay in my program because I didn't want to give up my spot. And Ryan, he didn't want me to give up my spot. He was actually still encouraging me to stay in the program.
She was willing to take, the things that she needed to do to support our family. But luckily, we got blessed with this job at Goodwill.
He had a great attitude. You could tell in the interview that he and his family had faced some challenges, unexpected losing of a job, but he was still very positive and had a good spirit about him, that he just was eager to learn whatever the job entailed at that point.
Melissa was a big help. She pretty much showed me the ropes, what to do, what not to do, and sat there with me and pretty much took me under her wing to help me become successful in Goodwill. Oh, I love the customers. Like, customers know me by first name basis there, and I know them by their first name. That's what it's all about, you know. I always try to build relationships with the customers, walk around, ask them if everything's going okay, if you're looking for anything in particular, if I can help you with it.
I think that it is contagious in the store. I think that from day one, he hasn't run across a challenge that he's not willing to take on head on and tackle it. It was a very quick process for him to be promoted to manager.
With Goodwill, I feel blessed where I'm at now to move up so fast and be in the position that I'm in. And you never know what the future holds. You know, I always want to move up in life.
Looking back, I was like really, upset and just didn't understand why that happened, but it all ended up working out for the best.
We prayed and then we supported each other. At the end of the day, it's all going to pay off. That's what we're in life to do, is to succeed and, build a future for our kids.
I want to branch out and have a career. I think it's important to show for my kids because I can tell them if I was able to hang in there and work and raise you guys, then you can do it too. There's no excuse for you not to be able to do something. If you put your mind to it, you should just go ahead and do it and not give up.
A-STEP, is a Goodwill program. So it's really important that we all work together, and it's really, like in this case, for Ryan and Teresa, we looked to Goodwill for employment. So the education and employment piece kind of come together, which we feel in the long run is, going to work for the entire family. I am really happy for them. I mean, they work really hard for their family. They just, had some down times and have really worked hard to get through them, and I couldn't be more proud of both of them.